Yes, we are live for coffee break number, I guess, 27. Welcome again, Leo Rastogi.
Thank you, Jim. It's so wonderful to always chat with you. I'm very excited. It's a good morning here in Houston,
Yeah,
Texas.
where are you? You're in the US?
Yes, right now, yes, I am back home in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, and it's now 8 o'clock there?
It's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Okay.
10 o'clock. So
Yeah.
it's the right time to take a coffee break. The morning work is done.
You
Lunch
have
is,
your coffee?
yes, I have my coffee.
Okay, so Mm. Now I said like welcome back.
Thank
A
you.
lot of people here in Belgium might recognize you and think about the workshop you gave at the Happiness at Work conference in June in Antwerp. The topic of that workshop was the hard truth about
Workplace well-being.
workplace well-being. Nobody wants to talk about. Maybe it's good to refresh what you what
Right.
was in that workshop.
Yes, thank you, Jim, and it's great to be back. And you brought back really wonderful memories of meeting such wonderful people in Belgium. I have always loved visiting the country, and I've of course stayed in the neighborhood for a little bit of my life, about a year and a half, just across the border in Amsterdam. So it was absolutely fantastic to be at the conference, and thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it. Um, Talking about the subject, when I remember, Jim, if I hope you will remember when we were initially talking about my participation in the conference, and we were speculating what might be a talk. The COVID was still going away, and workplace mental health was becoming a big issue. And so when I was speculating on it, why I chose the hard truth was the fact that in when we talk about workplace well-being, look at what are the questions we're asking, right? We're asking the questions of how to beat stress, burnout, fatigue, and so on and so forth. Now, this is all about not about workplace well-being. It is about avoiding burnout, avoiding stress, about anxiety. This is the minimum acceptable. So imagine what we the goal we are setting for ourselves. How can we have a workplace where people are not killing themselves? Is that really about happiness at workplace? No, that's the minimum acceptable. The question then becomes is how might we invest in a workplace, in culture, in practices, in tools, in training for employees, and in resources available to them that they can actually be more engaged. They can enjoy the work, find a sense of meaning, find a sense of community, bring a degree of expression of their personal purpose to align with the organization purpose. And that I call the maximum achievable. I call about this as the MA paradox. That the whole conversation about even about mental health is about, the moment you talk about mental health, people say depression, anxiety. Now, of course, 1 out of 3 people have mental health challenges. What about the two-third? So we do need to provide all the support we can to people that have mental health challenges, right? 1 out of 3. What about the rest of the two-third? Should we wait till they have a mental health challenge so they can benefit from our policies of workplace well-being? Look at the conversation. So that's why we titled it The Hard Truth, about shifting the narrative from minimum acceptable quality of well-being at workplace, which is literally that people are not dying and insurance costs are not rising and not getting sick, to from that MA to the other spectrum of it, maximum achievable. What might a workplace look like where people truly enjoy coming? It is the place where they experience being honored, being nurtured, where they can be themselves and express their passion, express their commitment, a sense of shared purpose, a sense of shared meaning. What might that workplace look like? And what might a conversation look like about nurturing that workplace? And what tools we might need to give to people such that that workplace becomes possible. So that was really the theme. We had a blast. We had some nice Q&A. We ended with a short, actually a meditation practice based on how what the audience wanted about how might we create that island of peace in a frantic, chaotic workplace environment. So it was beautiful. I really enjoyed it, Jim. Thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you for coming because you were one of the first, taking like that workshop spot. and yeah, coming from America to Europe to Belgium. Why is it so important for you to bring the message?
So I've that's a good question, Jim. And I was actually very excited because, first of all, I was very touched by how you designed the theme of the workshop. And I go to a lot of conferences. I'm invited to speak all over the world. In fact, I'm right in the middle of two conferences right now. I just came from one, and I'm just off to the fourth summit next week. Um, when I saw the conference, I realized you know, Abraham Lincoln said it, for the people, by the people, of the people. So it was very, very clear that this is a conference that's not been put together by an event management company or all of that.
Mhm.
It's put together with passion. Your own personal story was very inspiring, and I saw how you chose the passion to bring the
Mhm.
message to 10 million people worldwide, like a very clear statement. So that was very touching and very inspiring for us because I truly believe that people that want to make a positive difference and contribution need to collaborate with each other because together we are always stronger, we learn from each other, and we serve better. So that's the reason why, out of all the happiness congresses that take place around the world, second thing was people that we talked to were really happy. So
Yeah,
it was like walk the talk. So when I engaged with you, and even I mentioned to you, I think even before I led my workshop, where you walked into the venue and the volunteers that were at the gate
yeah,
were happy people. So this is a happiness at work conference by happy people, not serious, not people trying to analyze happiness. So that was very exciting. So there was a congruence between the mission and how the talk was organized and how the conference was organized. Fantastic. So that's the part of why initially we got interested to collaborate. The second part, why is the message so important? I'm going to get a little bit technical, okay? So bear with me on this one. So any developmental psychologist, who's understood child development will tell you that right from the moment a child is born all the way up to the age of 3 or 5, of the emotions that a child knows, one is happiness, second is anger. So then a child can recognize happiness. The child will smile, will respond back with smile, respond to a smile, and so on and so forth. Yeah, or if the child is upset or hungry, will have anger. You see, sadness is not a feeling available to a child. Sadness is not something available to children. If before the age of 5, if you ask children how they are feeling, they will tell you that I am hungry, I am happy, I am angry. They won't say I'm sad. So the whole feeling of stress and sadness is a learned behavior for humanity. The more and more we begin to receive expectations from the external environment, right about the time after the age of 5, they will tell you that, between 5 to 7, we start seeing children for the first time expressing sadness. From 7 to 12, now you find 40% of kids express sadness. Now, in adulthood, of course, the number is off the chart. So the question is, why is it the most natural human emotion that we are born with, that we have an innate capacity to experience and express happiness and joy, becomes limited to the extent that, by the time people are in their 20s, 60% of the people experience significant period of sadness during the day. Now, that has a profound impact on the quality of life that we enjoy, the quality of health we enjoy, the quality of relationships we enjoy, how much engagement we find at workplace, how much really we are a society connected with each other, engaging in relationships, engaging in capacity to contribute and make a difference in other people's life, touch them, move them, inspire them. That all gets limited by that constraint. That's why the message of happiness is very important, because this is a true experience that a child is born with. This is what we were literally, Jim, I promise you, this is what we were designed to feel. That's why when we come into this world, we come with we come with that capacity and wholesomeness of life. The greatest experience of being alive lies in being touched with that inner joy and unconditional happiness. And suddenly the world will not change, but our experience of that world will change. So I am extremely passionate about inviting attention of people in different contexts. Workplace is a very important context because we spend literally, out of, let's say, 20, 24 hours, take 8 hours away for sleeping. You're left with 16 hours. take 4 hours away for all the cool stuff you need to do, shower and brush your teeth. Then out of the 12 hours that are left for us, we spend between 8 to 10 hours. That's 80 to 90, 80% approximately, or 90%, which way you look at it, of our waking life, of actual life that we live at the workplace. That's why that context is very important. Until and unless we can stimulate the consciousness of being able to nurture that feeling of happiness in the workplace, is going to be extremely hard just with the limited time that we have for the other areas of life left after it, that the whole onus for nurturing lies there. So this is clearly a passion, and I've seen it from all sides. I was a corporate CEO, public company CEO for a long time. I've been a researcher in this space. So sometimes I get all technical, like I just got with you, wearing my neuroscientist hat, and also from the other side, of working with beautiful people like you about sharing this message. So yes, definitely, it's very, very personal to me, and I love opportunities to be able to contribute and serve in this community.
Yeah. And how important is it then to experience like these feelings? Like at the conference, we try to like, to pack it like in like, yeah, in an atmosphere of like with music and with smells
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
like how important is that like in your workshops to make people like really
Yeah,
experience that
yeah.
that feeling?
Very good question, and that's a great question, Jim. See, the innate memory in our mind always stays of happiness, right? Then we have other experiences that cover it up. So it's almost like, I'm reminded of a story about Michelangelo. So one day Michelangelo was walking through a forest. He found a stone, and he told his friend, "Can you have the stone transported back to my workshop?" The friend said, "What are you going to do about this stone? It's so dirty, it's old, it's terrible." And he said, "You know what, just leave my stuff to me, just get it transported." And Michelangelo, being Michelangelo, his friend obliged, and it transported. Then Michelangelo invited the friend a couple of months later and asked him, and there was a statue covered under a curtain, and he asked him to remove that curtain. And when he removed that curtain, and he was literally blinded with a beautiful statue of David that was right there. And the friend was really moved and crying, and he asked Michelangelo, "How did you ever create this statue of David? It's so beautiful." He said, "Do you remember this? This is the stone that we found in the forest." And he was even further shocked. He said, "How do you carve the statue of David from that beautiful stone?" He said, "Oh, the statue of David was always there. I just took away the parts that were not the statue of David. And all I was left with was only the statue of David." So, why I give you this anecdote is, you see, we think about happiness as being something that we have to go and find. We need to do something to have happiness. It's like having, it's like having a coffee. I need to go out, buy me coffee, and then I will have happiness. So I need to achieve a position. I need to achieve a certain type of relationship, certain type of body image, and so on and so forth. Now, the truth is, capacity to be happy and fulfilled is innately within us. We actually don't need to have anything. We need to let go the unwholesome experiences that are shrouding it.
Mhm.
Once you have let go of unhealthy experiences, then what you're left with is natural self expression, your authentic self. That will always normalize itself towards happiness. And in workshops, I really focus on that, is that if people find a taste that in 5 minutes they can experience, that's what I tell them, that in 5 to 7 minutes, if you can experience that sense of inner calm, that peace, that tranquility, that clarity of mind, that beingness of that, I have a wholesome life, and a great life for me is not only possible, it's available. Then that comes the inspiration that I don't have to do many things. I don't have to move mountains. I don't have to become this or that, or go and live in a cave, or I don't have to do this or that. But I can actually nurture my happiness in the here and now, in the moment, and sustainably. That's why I prefer not to lecture a lot in the workshops, but
Mhm.
really to invite people to see the importance and the inspiration, but then leave them with a practice. Because I promise to you, after I'm gone, they will forget the lecture and they don't care. But if
Yeah,
they've learned a technique or a tool that they can practice, that will stay with them. And
yeah,
that is, in my humble opinion, that's a true contribution. That when you're able to, whatever you tell people, people will forget. But how they feel because of what they did, not what you did, the tool that they did, that leaves them empowered, that I can now access this anytime. And that's why in the workshop, it's extremely important, in my humble opinion, to leave people, of course, with a context of why it's important, but also that belief that I can have it. And it does not take years of practice. It does not take going to a mountain or going to shop at Lululemon. I can just acknowledge it and access it in the here and now. And if I can acknowledge it and access it within a group of hundreds of people in a conference in 5 minutes with no prior experience, well, then I can get good at it.
Yeah,
That's the reason why practice is very important in
yeah,
my experience.
yeah. Now, how for a leader, how important is it then, like the art of storytelling, and
Yes.
then the art of like touching people, like
Yes.
when you look at the
Hmm.
keynotes you saw at
Yes.
the conference, like
Right.
which one like hit you most,
Yes.
touched you most?
Yeah, yeah, and also it depends also on the objective, Jim. I'm going to go dial back a little bit on this. Um, See, you can use your platform and your story ability to tell a story to bring people to various stages of awareness. Right? You can leave them very motivated, rah, 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 awaken the giant within. Okay, then that motivation does not last very long. But in the moment, they experience an adrenaline high and all of that, right? And then Bambi meets Godzilla later on in life. So that's one genre. The second part is you can leave people contemplative. That means you can ask them
Uh-huh.
some questions that will essentially have them think, right? And when they go back, the inquiry will grow on them. The third one is you can leave them touched, where you actually you have allowed your vulnerability to come to the surface, and you've created that bond of safe space where people are willing to feel vulnerable with all the emotions that come up for them, and in the moment, a transformation arises. So there is touching, moving, inspiring. So, like I always say, a great platform is when you touch their hearts, challenge their mind, and inspire their soul to make a difference. If you can accomplish all three as a speaker, that where there is a degree of connection and safety of space and that warmth, literally the room's climate changes when that touch arises. So you've got to touch their heart because people want to know you care before they want to know what you know. Then, if you can challenge their mind, that you can give them an idea that they can go back and work with or practice that they can do. And then you can inspire them with a vision right up to their soul that they will manifest in their life. That's great. I personally was very, very touched by Iris on session, that
Uh-huh.
she is a personification of vulnerability. She was phenomenal. She spoke straight from the heart. You could literally feel that the room shifted with her, and
Yeah,
you could see that she was transparent, she was available, and she left a very inspiring message for people about learning to contribute to others and being mindful of, and also learning to receive even from people that you don't even not know. So I thoroughly enjoyed the session. I think it was very, very special, and I just enjoyed it. It was great. She's a personification of a session who did all three: touch people's heart, leave people with an inquiry that they will go back and think about, and also inspired an action. So that was my experience, Jeff.
yeah. Maybe
And I
maybe
know you
also.
know Iris very well. So I think for you it was
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
new
yeah.
experience.
She's from Holland. She's close.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's nice. She's sweet. She's
yeah,
nice. She's
yeah.
yeah.
And of course the music was amazing
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
as
course.
well.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And another maybe another detail. Like I remember when we had that
Mhm.
discussion about the title you would use for your workshop.
Yes.
Is like not to bring it in like too much spiritual
Correct.
language, because
Right.
then people say like, oh, well,
Yes.
that's going too far.
I agree.
Because when you spoke about like
Yeah.
who you are, like as a
Right.
CEO,
Right.
yeah, people don't know that like you were like also like a kind of a monk.
Yeah.
So, but you
Yeah.
have the skill like really to translate like
Yeah.
spiritual knowledge into like really down to earth language.
No, thank you for acknowledging them. And yes, I don't see that really as at odd. And I understand. I'm very sensitive to the fact that in many cases, a spiritual context is not friendly to people, or they may not be
Mhm.
as open to it. And I understand some people really get inspired by that. So I have actually lived as a monk more than once in my life. I have lived as a full Buddhist monk, with my begging bowl and shaved it and everything as a Samanera, Theravada Buddhist monk. I've also had the opportunity to live as a Catholic monk for a little bit. So I've seen both sides of it. And once one of my spiritual teachers once suggested to me to live as a beggar, and I did, to learn what life is like when your title doesn't matter, when you don't have the power of money, when you don't have the power of education. You don't have the power of your passport. American passport can be powerful, so you don't have that, and you're really at the bottom of the social hierarchy, and you begin to see, how people find joy in that, what emotions come up, and how, and I begin to notice that the emotions that people have when you're a beggar sitting in a line in India waiting for somebody to drop some coin so you can eat, and the power play that happens in a board meeting when you're running a public company inside a public company board are not that different. It's just that the subject matter is different, but the human behavior is contextually not very different. So, what I have come to realize, Jim, is that human beings are a continuum, and we have lenses with which we perceive consistency, or we perceive resonance of our values. So if you use a spiritual lens, you can make meaning of how happiness essentially comes from recognizing impermanence of everything and beginning to notice that inner essence of I am that I am that you get in touch with. Now you can use and that I am that I am, that Om Mane Padme Hum or Soham Hamsa, that inner touch will awaken for you the seed of consciousness that will reshape the world that you look at it. Now, as a cognitive psychologist, you can come back to it and say, you know what? I want to get into that state where all my learned schemas of life, my conditioned experiences, my birth trauma, in utero trauma, shock trauma, and I can let it go. Now, you can also take a view of a neuroscientist or a quantum physicist, for that matter, of being able to, from all the probability set, from all the option set that we have, how might you choose where the probability of happiness arising as a virtue is very, very high. So there are different lenses, right, and different lenses with which you can make meaning. So you get to choose what lens you want, right? For me, I don't see as much of a disparity, right? That the hard science does not say something dramatically different from what the inspired spirituality says. And so for me, it's very easy. I can blend with the monks and talk the monk talk,
Yeah.
and as I do, I can talk with the Fortune 500 CEOs, and bring back that, how your balance sheet and how your EPS and how your EVA and how your ESG indicators will be impacted by investing in employee happiness. So they are consistent with each other. It's just you choose what lens you want, and you have to know the audience, what they're
Yeah.
comfortable with expressing, and not be defensive about anything, and not be evangelical also. Because see, when you believe that there is only one truth, right? There's only one way to look at a situation, it also excludes people. So meet people where they are, have a dialogue, and you find people are remarkably open. I actually have been surprised by I don't have the permission, but I read from specific people. But actually, at the conference, I was quite surprised that post conference, when we were mingling in the speakers' lounge, people came to me with, I would call, senior spiritual questions, and uh, and and we had a nice dialogue. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now you have three main pillars for happiness and like even for well-being.
Right.
So joy, purpose, and fulfillment.
Fulfillment. Right. Right.
Yeah. Can you like
Sure.
explain
Sure.
like a little bit the
Sure.
three pillars
Sure.
and
Sure.
linked with happiness?
Sure. I think there are two parts of this question, right? Really, one beginning to understand the nature of happiness, how it arises, what it brings forth, and how it's related to joy, purpose, and fulfillment. And then, why is it important for holistic well-being, right? So
Uh-huh.
let me address first happiness. So you see, many times we think of happiness as a state of mind, right, or as a somatic experience that we have. So when I say, "What do you feel when you're happy?" people will describe a certain type of feeling, euphoria, eudaimonia, if you talk to the Greeks, or I have this tingling sensation, I have any of that. You see, first basic level of happiness is what we would call somatic happiness, where essentially, let's say you're very hungry and you eat the first spoon of ice cream. You're extremely happy that you enjoyed the ice cream. Now, if you have to eat the whole bowl, chances are you will get sick. So there is a whole aspect of hedonic adaptation where when you look for happiness as a surrogate for pleasure, you adapt to it very quickly and it doesn't give you happiness anymore. Like the joke I tell my American friends is, you're happiest with your car the day you buy it, in the moment of buying it.
Mhm.
From there, it goes downhill. So sometimes the desire to acquire something or a pleasure is where, but we adapt to it very, very quickly, and then it ceases to last. So one of the challenges about happiness is that many of the aspects of happiness that we pursue will bring us a version of happiness that will last for a very short period of time, and then we have to go out and seek again something. Then we, like, applause brings happiness for somebody, then you have to go out and seek applause again. Till the time the next applause does not come, you will not be happy again. Is like that. Now there is a next stage of happiness called joy. Joy is a state where you begin to have that experience embodied in your being, where you say, I am grateful for the life and
Mhm.
what life will bring me, and I will welcome it and whatever it brings, and it will last longer. The capacity to have a state of joy lasts a little bit longer. You don't have to continuously feed it with a dopamine release of getting a like on your Instagram post, or getting a clap or whatever else. You see, joy becomes something that gets embedded in you, right? And that becomes a state of being that lasts a little bit longer in terms of cadence. Like, for example, when you do a random act of kindness to somebody, the well-being sense that you experience from that wholesomeness that you experience from that, lasts longer than, let's say, eating a cake. Or, for example, knowing that you are loved and cared and you are safe in a relationship, that joy of feeling nurtured lasts longer. Like, ask any parent. Just the fact of remembering that they are a parent, that joy, of course, it brings its own challenges also, but the joy lasts a little bit longer, right? Then come so when you have joy, so when you have happiness, it's about, when you're stuck with the first level of happiness, it's about what can I have more that I can increase my happiness, and what do I need to have more so that I can be happy again, right? It's like we are looking for it outside of ourselves. Joy is the first time we are experiencing ourselves as a container of joy with the capacity to experience it internally. Now, when you have that, then you begin to see, okay, is that all that there is to life? That's when the existential questions come. Is that all that there is to life? Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? How might I have this experience of joy last an entire lifetime? That's when that inquiry begins to start, the existential inquiry. Then that's really where you access for the first time the feeling of purpose. Purpose essentially is a space where you begin to see, I matter, my life matters, and I would like for it to make a contribution that is something that extends outside of me. The joy of being able to contribute to something that will outlast you, that will live outside of you. That sense of inner alignment and peace, knowing that there is no finiteness to this. If I die tomorrow, my work will still continue, my impact will still continue. Being able to have that sense of inspired purpose gives you that gusto in the morning. Every day in the morning, when you get up and say, wow, I have a great day. Once again today, I get to work on something that is worth my life. I get to work on something where I'm fully self expressed. I get to work on something that truly brings out the best in me. So it is where you find a sense of harmony of your own personal inner purpose with the collective purpose of being able to contribute to the service of humanity. That joy, Jim, lasts much longer. People's faces change. When you meet with them, they have a sense of purposefulness in them. They have a sense of kindness in their eyes.
Mhm.
They are less focused about where they are, on what's going on for them, or what they want, or what they need. They are more focused on what is needed in the world to be done. And that expression does not mean you have to only go become a monk or you have to work in a non-profit world. It can also be a purpose-based business. It can also be solving some big, hairy scientific problem, which will further our understanding of how the universe began. It could be creating conscious music, for example. I'm just a shout out to my friend.
She's watching, eh?
He's watching. Okay, shout out to Gina. About being able to create that conscious music, right? Or so it can be any expression, but that expression is authentic to who you are. That is your natural, unadulterated self. That joy does last for a very long period in your life, and it becomes like a matrix in which you float. So that's present for you when you are visiting your friend. That's present for you when you're eating. Does not mean non-wholesome things won't happen, that you won't have pain or other. But the background, the white of the whiteboard of on which you're writing every day becomes that. Then comes when you have a sense of purpose. As you increasingly actualize more and more your purpose, comes the deep-seated sense of fulfillment. And fulfillment is a state where there's nowhere to go,
Mhm.
nothing to do, nothing to get. But you begin to realize this is my life. That you deepen your present moment awareness, that your capacity to be in the here and now and experience all the beauty of that moment becomes available. Because even that little drive that you have of accomplishing purpose tends to feel like it's done, it's provisionally complete. Like, okay, it may take me 10 years to stack up, to, like, for example, the 10 million people, like it will take me, let's say, 10 years to impact 10 million people. But in the future, it's already done. So today I can stand in a place called it's done and live my life. It's just a statistic that will eventually accumulate over a period of time. But I don't have that. I'm not measuring that progress like that, right? I apologize. I didn't mean not measuring. I meant my inner state of joy and bliss and harmony and perfect alignment with my inner self or my soul is not dependent on how well that's moving, because provisionally it's done, right? Is like that. That sense of fulfillment that comes when you are actualizing your purpose every day, every breath, every step you take. You are moving forward in your purpose. That sense of fulfillment is a sense where I mean, I don't want to get all technical about it, but you have that sense of suchness where everything that processes through your life, every experience that processes through your life, does not really move your center of happiness and joy. So, like I said,
Mhm.
first level of happiness is finding pleasure, right? Eating an ice cream, buying a car, having a certain type of body, having a certain type of relationship, having that beautiful, and it's great and it lasts. But the hedonic adaptation gets us off it very, very quickly. The next level is about joy, which comes from experiencing a sense of wholesomeness of contributing to others, right? I give an example of random act of kindness, or being part of a social mission or something where there's something outside of you that you're living for. Then a sense of purpose is about being able to anchor to the unique expression of humanity you are, and finding how that fits with a macrocosmic plan, right? Or your social plan or whatever else it is, and giving it your all. Nothing held back. Being able to stand in a place called I'm whole, complete, and perfect. And sure, I have barriers to my expression and experience, but I am living my greatest aligned truth in everything I do. Then comes fulfillment, right? Now, there's another stage which I don't talk about in the topic usually, is of liberation, because that really comes from the spiritual realm. Where liberation is where fulfillment, like I mentioned to you, is that expression that everything that needs to be done has been done, provisionally complete out there
Mhm.
in the fabric of the universe. And you have the ability to be in the here and now, enjoying that moment, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the beautiful landscape that you're looking at, the sip of the tea that you're enjoying at the moment, the presence of my friend Jim on the call, that I am grateful for, to be able to share this moment. May not be another one in my life, who knows? So that being able to be in the here and now, like eternity is that moment. Being able to nurture that sense of fulfillment that lasts, that just lasts, regardless of tough times or good times. You can always come back to that inner silence. And there is a deeper level of it, which is called liberation, where essentially you sort of have your identity dissolve into the fabric of the society or the universe or the cosmos that you live in, and you begin to feel that sense of no separation, that oneness, that you begin to say, how might I now, this beautiful creation of of the earth, of the planet, etc., how might I be of service? So it becomes even bigger and bigger. And so these are different shades of happiness. We can nurture them. It's related to well-being, because the moment we nurture, so we have got many areas of our life: work, work and career, personal life, social contribution, and so on and so forth. Sometimes, when if for us to have a expression of holistic well-being, we have to nurture that sense of happiness and joy and fulfillment in every area of your life. If we spend a lot of time nurturing career, we will have that inner vacuum, that hole at the center of the beautiful donut, that we're not nurturing our health as much, or we're not contributing to society as much, or we're not, or my relationships, I'm not able to that much, or my family, or recreation, or self development. So, holistic well being requires understanding that there are seven key areas of life, or whichever way you qualify them, and being able to bring this experience of joy and happiness to each one of them. See, work-life balance is very hard, because you say the more work means less life. So the only way how I can have more life is I do less work. It's like a zero-sum game. It doesn't work like that. Work is a part of life. It has to fit with the grand design of your life, and your joy and fulfillment has is your key concern, right? What you're committed to, and how might you now express that in work, and how might you express that in the area of your health, how might you express that in the area of your relationship, your intimate relationship, and how might you express that in your self-development, sense of growing, that I'm fulfilling a greater purpose. That's why, to me, the journey of nurturing joy and happiness and fulfillment is about nurturing a holistic well-being, the most awesome life you can have.
Yeah. Wonderful explanation from, let's say, the master of purpose, Leo Rastogi.
You're very kind. I'm a student
uh,
of.
yeah, Leo, thank you very much for being in this coffee break, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you, Jim. It was absolutely wonderful to be in the coffee break, and I look forward to our paths crossing very, very soon. Enjoy yourself, and thank you for
Have a
the
nice day.
opportunity.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.